The following is a Novus Renaissance audio production and is available for purchase at www.novusrenaissance.com. Novus Renaissance is proud to present its Dor Vahdor 2021 Christmas and Winter Season Special, Remembrance of the Sovereigns, a lost legend of pre-flood Earth, first discovered in the old archives of the capital of Felfox, Bilanda. Remembrance of the Sovereigns was written, directed, and produced by Lazarus Master Fox, with music composed by Viallet, and voice performances by the chief narrator and editor, Ethan Smith, Nicholas Calloway,
Cha Young Kim,
Leslie Nunez.
And now, Remembrance of the Sovereigns.
A brief history for those that discover these writings. Bilanda has always stood as a shining light of faith, hope, and excellence among the realms and principalities of Caledonia and the lands of Remembrance during the Preflood Earth era of human history. Nevertheless, Bilanda's most remarkable qualities also make it one of the most coveted prizes of the powers of darkness.
Long have these unholy, unnatural, and infernal forces sought to rape, plunder, pillage, and consume Bilanda's sanctity, enslaving its folk to feed evil passions, appetites, and satisfy pure spite. Thus, such a great battle may have always been inevitable, as this account reflects upon, when beings are driven by such carnal spirits of avarice.
During one season, defiled offspring and supernatural forces launched a combined invasion of Bilanda from the western reaches of the Caledonian mainland. They assaulted through the ironclad channel, seizing beachheads on the southern coastline and surging over the White Fang Mountains.
The great adversarial host assembled upon the vast plain, nestled between the West and East Paw rivers. It was a dark time, and the winter had come, with no dream for spring. The High Reynard gathered a counterforce of men, women, and their loyal Felfoxes to defend their homes, families, and native land. Both sides prepared for brutal combat and death.
However, according to various testimonies of those who were present, a vast portal of energy cracked open at the onset of the battle, ripping apart the gray snow swirling sky. All manner of fallen beings burst forth like pus from a wound, but none were so terrible as the old red seraphim himself. These malicious creatures and their master swelled the defiled ranks of the Rephaim, Colossae, Emims, Zuzims, and depraved men.
At that moment, the High Vixen heard her lord and mate proclaim aloud to the heavens, "O holy power above, if only we had but one of thy princes who labor not this day." She turned to him, grasped his hand, and said 2 words.
Have faith. The High Vixen then took up the grand standard from the bearer and strode forth to the center battle line, inspiring all the folk. "I, my love, I," the High Reynard replied. As the High Reynard and Vixen took their positions, the humans said abundant petitions to the heavens and prepared their souls for a noble death. Then, one of the most extraordinary events happened in the history of Bilanda, since the inception long ago has been recalled ever after.
The surviving text you are about to read is a first-hand account by a veteran from the battle line who survived. After the combat, he humbly presented his composition to the High Vixen, whom all the men called Our Lady of Victory, due to her actions during the conflict. The High Vixen, in turn, presented it to the High Reynard. He added a brief section, which is now impossible to confirm, but is placed at the end of the account, so that the flow of the immediate tale is not interrupted. The High Reynard then decreed the prime account be read to all Bilanda, to ensure the honor, terror, sacrifice, evil, and salvation of that season would ne'er be forgot.
Remembrance of the Sovereigns, the prime account of the battle for Bilanda and salvation from evil the one, as decreed by the High Reynard long ago.
'Twas the eve of the battle, with fear through the ranks. Apostate forces formed beyond the river banks. The multitude of the wicked brought death and despair, with the desire to devour Bilanda most fair.
Horrid blasphemies were branded on their foreheads, while black venom streamed out from eyes of crimson red. Yet the High Reynard stood tall on our side of the field, while his High Vixen raised the national standard, defiant to yield.
Events most quickly turn, as out of air exploded a vast portal. Its energy casts down the deep ranks of us mortals. Human eyes gazed away from its blinding flash. As our sight returned, everyone gasped.
Legions onward! Charge forward, infernal foul fiends! On their flesh feast, to Bilanda our darkness bring.
Riot and death this enemy brought upon us. Pandemonium unleashed overwhelming evil tides. Yet the High Reynard and his vixen stood firm, neither retreating nor succumbing to fear.
This primeval enemy came on, but we fought back the foe. Yet the wicked knew our ranks had no place to go. Then, there were flashes of lightning and pearls of thunder. A marvel appeared before our frantic eyes, unveiling a titanic figure of power and size.
Revelation of such glory required no reason to be convinced. That magnificent being was Michael, the chief sovereign prince. Suddenly, his captains also arrived, shining like the sun's rays. Prince Michael hailed them with a song of praise.
Ye all come, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael, and Anakel now. Forward, Phanuel. Forward, Sachiel, Ansariel, and Zuriel too. Arise, O invincible sovereigns, against these enemies of malice and gall. Defend these folk, and cast out these putrid powers of hell.
Gabriel then raised Michael's battle standard on high, as 10,000 celestial warriors filled the sky. Upon the Archangel's signal, the righteous into the battle flew, hurling back the blasphemous ranks with a superior power anew.
Below, the adversary surged forward, and our lines began to strain. Men saw the seraphim approaching Bilanda's side of the plain. It was a terror to behold that ancient foe, as it consumed man's flesh. But Prince Michael landed like a meteor before the draconian wretch.
Grotesque rage bellowed against the Angeli, who barred its way. Its 7 heads spewed forth a sulphuric spray. Michael countered with his shield, which absorbed the iniquitous attack. Then he unsheathed the Mysterium Dominum blade from his back.
Oh, his body was like chrysolite, his face as the appearance of lightning, his eyes pierced the darkness as a lamp that was burning, and his arms and his body, even down to his feet, gleamed as brilliant gold. The sovereign Angeli was overwhelmingly Gloria, but fearful to behold.
Decisively his voice cried like the multitude of an imperium, causing wicked creatures and men to flee in terror and delirium. The sovereign sprang forth from where he stood on the ground, and tackled the Seraphant like a mighty wolfhound.
He cast down his old enemy into the muddy mire. Then, Michael granted the rebel prince a wound most dire. The Dominion blade was driven deep into the belly of the beast, slicing wide and unleashing forth a horrific feast.
A choir of agony roared from the Seraphim's heads, as his evil ranks' onslaught faltered in dread, for they saw their lord fall to the Angeli in shame. The Prince of Sovereigns lifted the Draconi o'er his head and cast the accursed through the portal from which it came.
After this, on all infernal legions and foul creatures, a great terror fell, as the prodigious enemy retreated to the realms where they did dwell. Gabriel and Raphael led the rest of the sovereigns to crush the iniquitous in utter defeat, while Bilanda men smote down the foe like a sight through wheat.
As darkness abated the new coming solar, in the stillness of the slaughter, we heard the words, "It is over." All folk gaze over the ichor field of this cruelest campaign. Then praise began from the lot of us that remained.
And the chief prince of the sovereigns thus to us declared, "To the Holy Great, one be faithful, love him, obey, and do not despair." The cosmic multitudes then rose to the sky, fading from view as they ascended on high.
Finally, Michael himself proclaimed to all as he faded from sight, "All Bilanda remember how from evil thee were delivered this night."
The High Reynard's Addendum, believed to have been added after the battle.
Here is the number of slain adversaries, High Reynard.
This dispatch doth tell that over 100,000 creatures and foul men on that battlefield doth lie dead. Of Rephaim in these casualties, 10,026. Added to these of Colossae, Emims, and Zuzims, 50,400, over which 20,000 of these were but recently spawned. Here was a foul fellowship of fiends. Where is the account of our Bilanda dead? A second dispatch was given to the High Reynard. Daniel the Black Fox, the Reynard of the Rincons, the Paw River twins, the vixen of the briar patch. None else of distinguished name, and of all other men and women, 520.
"'Tis a miracle," said a woman in the ranks.
The High Reynard then spoke again. "Let us go home and proclaim it throughout the host and the dens and burrows, that death and anathema be upon any folk that boasts or says that by our power alone we won the day. For the victory belongs to his sovereigns only."
Is it not lawful, my lord, to tell us how many were slaughtered?
Yes, good Reynard, but with this recognition, that Michael the sovereign Angeli defended us in battle.
Aye, my soul. That sovereign did us great service.
The High Reynard concluded, "Thus do all faithful rites and petitions sing praise on high, our dead in charity, encased in clay and burial. Then to our homes again, when ne'er from this place we shall arrive more happy men."
Dor Vahdor's Remembrance of the Sovereigns has been a Novus Renaissance Christmas and Winter Season special.
Remembrance of the Sovereigns was written, directed, and produced by Lazarus Master Fox, with music composed by Viallet, and voice performances by the chief narrator and editor, Ethan Smith, Nicholas Calloway,
Cha Young Kim,
Leslie Nunez.
From all of us here at Novus Renaissance,
we wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a bright New Year.
May peace be with you, and many blessings as well.
Along with profound good health.
now until next season,
Now until the next season,
Now until next season,
Now until next season,
farewell. This performance is copyrighted in 2021 by Novus Renaissance LLC and Literary Reconquista Publishing. Dor Vahdor is copyrighted 2019 and 2020 by Lazarus Master Fox and Novus Renaissance LLC under the United States Copyright Act of 1976 and the Berne Convention Implementation Act of 1988. All rights reserved. Novus Renaissance is the new platform for fan freedom, creating and defending great stories, great characters, and superb secondary worlds. Find out more about Novus Renaissance and Dor Vahdor's world of pre-flood Earth, along with the ability to purchase our books, music, merchandise, and leverage our self-publishing support services at www.novusrenaissance.com. The world of fans is following us. Are you?